Y254 chairman, Tusk FC captain, and I don't know whether it's former or current Kenyan international. Of course, he's not been included in the current national squad. That's Harambee Stars team led by head coach Stanley Okumbi, and he's also looking forward to an inclusion and get a starting berth in the national team. Of course, he's also optimistic they can retain the title they won last season with Tusker as far as Kenya Premier League title and crown is concerned. Of course, joining me on set is Simon Sepe Mulama, former Kenyan international and sports journalist. Ronnie, a lawyer, our residential guest, of course, just coming over to dissect about Kenya Premier League with several fixtures lined up this weekend. Of course, matches on card. And starting with you, Sepe, do you agree with James Tuma that they can still defend the title they won last season?
I think we're just getting started in the second part of the season. But looking at how they are performing, especially in the first leg, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough for them. They haven't collected enough points for at least to give them a push to win the title. Gor Mahia is averaging 2 points per match as it stands now, and so going into the second leg with that momentum, with the same form, I don't think Tusker have a chance. It's good to be optimistic, and I've always said this, but also you have to be realistic when you're being optimistic.
Ronnie, according to Situma, 2015 Tusk FC squad was the best offer. Of course, consisting of the likes of Abudo Omar, Yesewere now playing with Zesco United in Zambia. But he said they didn't manage to win any title. But 2016 was not a better squad as compared to that of 2015, but they won a double. What do you think?
Indeed, 2016 for them was a year of mixed fortunes, and for them winning the league, in as much as they gave in their effort, you also have to factor in the 3 points that Gor Mahia were denied from that violence that erupted against Tusker. But as Sepe says, it's too late. It's too late in the day for Tusker to recover. He's optimistic, the captain Situma, but it's too late. There are 14 points adrift the log leaders Gor Mahia, and Gor have a match in points, so have one game in hand. So it's very tricky for Tusker to catch up with Gor. Tusker had a very terrible week before we went to the break. They lost 3 points. They were docked 3 points after that Zoo saga where some of the players didn't have player cards. Then they came to the league. The Go TV, they lost to a very minor side of Vihiga United, who play in the NSL. Then again, they lost 3 points to a side they're used to beating, AFC Leopards. So I think that week really sealed their fate. It's late in the day. I don't see them recovering. As things stand, top 8 could even be a challenge for Tusker.
Of course, Tusker FC, as we speak right now, are currently occupying 9th spot on 18-team log with only 30 points, of course, after being deducted some 2 points after, IDCC, that is Independent Disciplinary Complaints Committee, a body that is affiliated to KPL, docking them 2 points after fielding players with no accredited FKF badges against Zoo Kericho, a match that they had won in Zoo away, of course, in Kericho. But now, as we speak right now, Gor Mahia still the top of the table, closely followed by Sofapaka, then Posta Rangers coming in 44 points. Gor Mahia are having, and Sofapaka having 38 points, then Zoo coming in third with 35 points. Now, Ronnie, Nakumatt FC is playing against Posta Rangers this afternoon. Sami Pamzo Molo is looking forward to win a title with Posta Rangers. They have been in good shape so far, with several of their players being included in the national team. Patrick Matasi, their goalkeeper, just featured for Harambee Stars, the national team, against Mozambique, a game they drew last weekend during an international break. Of course, it was a friendly. What do you think of Posta Rangers against Nakumatt FC?
Patrick Matasi has been fantastic this season, and I took him to be the goalkeeper of the season. He's been very strong, and if you compare the Patrick Matasi we have today and the one of the previous years, he's really matured, and you can see he's getting into the national team, he's getting the playing time. He has the height and the command and the physique, so a very good goalkeeper. Generally, Posta, to me, they've done well, but I don't think they have what it takes to really challenge for the title. This week, again, important to mention is Bamzo has been having the case of indiscipline, where he's allegedly guilty of boxing the Sofapaka coach. I don't know how much that will affect them going into this one, But I think they have mature players, they have the experience, and I tip them to get maximum points over Nakumatt.
Kefas Wani, since he made this switch from FC Leopards to Nakumatt FC, he's also been in good shape, a good player, you know, inspiring Nakumatt FC to not a bad position on 18-team log. That is as far as Kenyan Premier League is concerned. What do you make of Nakumatt FC's ability, you know, to pick 3 maximum points this afternoon against Posta Rangers? Considering that, you know, they have been branded as a team that is having plenty of, you know, rejected players.
Yes, and that's one point of concern for Nakumatt. I think they did well to recruit and try to strengthen the team from the team that was in the Nationwide League last season, and then coming in this season, trying to get players that have been there to at least to stabilize the team and give them the push at least in the first leg, so that they can finish in a decent position and push on in the second leg to get a few points here and there, so that they can survive, not actually to win the league. Now this season they started off well. They got some good players coming in. Boniface Akenga from Kariobangi Sharks, a very good striker coming in. A good bench, Matthew Otamax, one of the keeper trainers, Fred Ambani. But then somewhere along the line, they started to crumble. The bench, there's no unity in the bench. The leadership from the top, the secretariat going down, there's disharmony. That boils down to the team. You hear of issues of players not being paid their bonuses and salaries. Nakumatt, you know, struggling, closing about 22 branches across the country. You know, they're really struggling with motivating the team and keeping the players motivated. Now going into this match against a team that is getting points away, going to Chemelil and getting a point, you know, Chemelil score first and then Posta coming back and scoring and tying that match. You're going away and getting maximum points from a team like, let's say, Western Steamer. So they're going to play against a team that is very motivated, having players that have played together not just this season because they're in the league, but they've been together even in the Nationwide when they are competing and challenging to come into the Premier League. So they're playing against the Akina Jose Capello, Mbugi, the Mbugis and stuff, and Atudo. So coming into this match, I think it's going to be a tough, very, very, very tough match for Nakumatt, playing against a very motivated side, and Nakumatt themselves not being as motivated, a bench that is disintegrated. I'm not sure if they can get even a point from this match.
Of course, it's the KPL chat on the touchline. Y254 Maxwell Asike is my name, and, you know, joining me on set to dissect about what's happening in the world of sports as far as Kenya Premier League football fixtures this weekend are concerned. Simon Sepe Mulama, former Kenyan international and Ronnie Aloy, sports journalist, of course, just coming over to take us through and, you know, get us into in-depth analysis of the fixtures lined up. And now talking about Bandari against Kariobangi Sharks, Paul Ngata, he was in charge of Tusk FC, won a double with them. He made a switch to Bandari, you know, and he was criticized for making a retrogressive move owing to what he had done at the Brewers. What do you think of Bandari against Kariobangi Sharks, a team that has been associated with one of the football top honchos in the country and, you know, contributing several players to the national team?
Indeed, that has also been a major talking point this week and in the previous weeks especially. This player has been called in place of this one because of one and two reasons. But that aside, from the discussion, Kariobangi Sharks have really done well for me this season. You see they're in the top half of the log. They are even in position to finish in the top 5. They are doing really well. Bandari on the other side, they seem to be on and off. They really are not promising. Kariobangi Sharks has the experience. You see the young players, they're running, the Ovela, they're showing so much potential. So against Kariobangi Sharks, looking at the record between Bandari and Kariobangi Sharks, it's almost split. And we see it's a match that has always brought in a couple of goals. So we expect goals in the afternoon, but for me, Kariobangi Sharks is the better side.
Sepe, you've been a great and accurate predictor as far as football matches, both local and international, are concerned. What's your prediction as far as that fixture is concerned? Dockers against Sharks.
We wait until the 90th minute. No, it's like he says. I think it's a tough one for Bandari, considering that they lost some of their good players coming into the season this year. They got a good coach in Qatar, having won the league and having done so well at Muhoroni and also City Stars before that. But having lost players like Abege and Kengato are not featuring so much, and Anthony Kimani injured, and now word on the street is that he's working at KPN and no longer playing with the guys, and Musa Mude moving back to FC Leopards. They have lost a core of the team that was very critical in their performance in the last 2 years. So I think this year they're trying to put together a team. Everybody expected Bandari, having won the Go TV Shield 2 years back, that they'll be really pushing for the title and championship in the Kenyan Premier League, but that's not happening 2 years down the road. So today, coming in, a good blend of experience and not very experienced players, young players, youthful against Kariobangi Sharks. I think it will be a tough one for Bandari. I think the best they can do is to get a point against Kariobangi Sharks.
Gor Mahia against Nzoia Football Club. They started the league on a high, beating Tusk FC. Yeah, I remember 5-7 goal thriller. They are playing Gor Mahia, the 15-time KPL champions, are now occupying top spot on the log. Nzoia, as we speak right now, 7th on KPL standings. What do you think?
Bernard Malala has done so much at Nzoia. They're a good side. They're a side who are in the league to stay, not to be relegated. And he's brought out the best out of young players. You've seen most of those players, it's their first time playing in the league, except for a few like Edwin Afula. But the team generally, in my opinion, has done pretty well. It's important to mention that last year, it's Nzoia that booted Gor Mahia out of the Go TV, beating them 1-0. And now, in the first leg again, Gor Mahia beat Nzoia away 1-0. Now they are meeting in Kisumu. Gor Mahia is a team that is now very focused. Their coach Dylan Carr has insisted that he doesn't want complacency, and they are coming into this match with an eye on the title. In as much as Nzoia might give them a run for their money, I don't expect Nzoia to get a point, especially in Kisumu, and with the title in Gor Mahia's eyesight, expect Gor Mahia to win.
Gor Mahia is currently boasting of a solid squad. Do you think probably that will be a key to their victory against Nzoia this afternoon and pick 3 maximum vital points?
Yes, number 1, and number 2, also the break that teams have had. I think they have had 2 weeks of recovery. Players like Kahata coming back from injury. Yes, he has been playing, but he's been trying to force himself to give the team the best he can. Now he's had about 2 weeks or 14 days, 10 days to get back into good fitness. They have players like Ernest Wendo that are really growing into the team. Somebody once mentioned that 2 years back, Wendo needed Gor Mahia so much, so that they could play him 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. But now Gor Mahia really needs Wendo, because he has the discipline, the tactical discipline, to keep the team shape and keep the team compact as Gor Mahia would love to play. So I'm looking at a match where Nzoia's steam and motivation to go after teams, to go at teams as they did against Tusker, scoring 5 against Tusker and playing a very offensive style of play. I'm looking at Nzoia now, having realized how the league is. The steam is going down, the momentum, and pushing forward all the time and running, playing of an offensive play for 90 minutes. I think that is now coming down. They're now trying to be a little bit cautious, with playing with a little caution, you know, saying in this match we can get a point, let's get 3 here, but let's get 1 here. With that kind of attitude that I have seen in Nzoia now, I think going against Gor Mahia, it will be a very tough match. Gor Mahia are in very good form, very good spirits. Like some of the players playing well for their national teams, the guys in Uganda, and getting good results. I think Gor Mahia is more motivated than any other team in the league right now, especially in the second leg, to get the championship. And I'm looking at a Gor Mahia that maybe targeting to win the league with a few matches to the end of the league.
Ronnie Aloyo, there has been much advocacy and push for former players taking over, you know, the reign as far as club and even national team coaching is concerned. Nicholas Muyoti, former FC Leopards player and Harambee Stars striker, since he took over at Thika United from James Nandwa, former FC Leopards coach, there has been no much success witnessed at the team. They are currently 17th on the log. He's a good man, soft-spoken coach who has been tipped for great things ahead, bright future, career-wise. But, you know, nothing forthcoming so far. They are playing Kakamega Homeboys, who are 4th on the log. What do you think?
Nicholas Muyoti, he came in to replace Nando, then Nando moved in as technical director. Although for me the switch, I particularly don't know what informed the switch, but it hasn't really worked for them. It hasn't worked for them. And also on the other side, they've lost some good players. For instance, Timothy Luda, who's gone to Sofapaka, has been very instrumental in that team. So it looks very tricky for Thika. They are playing Homeboys. Homeboys is a side that has, most of the players in there have been together for quite some time. You'll realize most of them have either played at Western Steamer, Homeboys. They've just rotated around the same town for quite some time. So it's very tricky for Thika. This season, I think one of the sides that are really in for relegation is Thika and Western Steamer. So against Homeboys, sorry to say that I don't see Thika getting a point.
Yes, and like you said, you know, it's one thing to be a former player, and it's one thing also to be able to coach and get the success as a coach. You know, it doesn't work out. I mean, automatically. I mean, we've seen Zinedine Zidane doing very well, but we've also seen Diego Maradona doing terribly. On the other hand, so like you said, what informed the decision where Muyoti takes over as the head coach at Thika, I think it was a very quick move for him to go at the helm. I'll give you an example, perfect example. Stanley Okumbi, when he went to he got to Mathare United as the head coach. Never been head coach at the Kenyan Premier League before. Never been assistant coach at the Kenyan Premier League, other than working under Francis Kimanzi and Salim Ali at Mathare United for about 2 years or 2 seasons. You know, so he wasn't the one calling shots. His input wasn't as much. And then these 2 guys departed, and Stanley Okumbi right away was the head coach at Mathare United. For the 2 seasons Okumbi was at Mathare United, every season he never won more than 7 matches at the helm. So that's what's happening also at Thika. You know, it's a very quick move for Muyoti, much as we would love for the former players to take leadership positions and coaching roles at the clubs, but also let's do that, you know, in a manner that doesn't make them also look as if they are actually dragging the teams down or dragging the organizations down. So it is good for him, yes, but it was too soon. Homeboys against his team, Thika United. Thika, the best they are doing after Muyoti came in, are tying the matches. You know, they're not really losing, but they're not winning. Most of their matches they're tying. You know, after much struggle, Thika gets a point. After much struggle, Thika gets a point, and that's not the result you want if you want to get out of relegation.
0700345457 is our WhatsApp messaging line. You can keep your predictions and contributions coming through. We want to be sampling it as the show progresses. Of course, it's the touchline on Y25, and this particular time it's an hour for KPL chat where we are analyzing and giving it a priority as far as in-depth coverage of matches lined up this particular weekend is concerned. And joining me on set is Simon Sepe Mulama, former Kenya international. We played for Mathare alongside FC Leopards, plus the national team Harambee Stars alongside Ronnie Aloya, residential guest, you know, just coming over here to take us through what they think about the matches that are lined up this particular weekend. 6 matches on card being played this afternoon, and one of the matches that is being played is that one pitting Moroni Youth Football Club against Ulinzi Stars. Moroni of late has been going so many predicaments. In fact, with their chairman Moses Adagala being banned for 6 months for, you know, disciplinary reasons, and, you know, since parting ways with Quickly for Chom, who joined Western Steamer, they have not been doing quite well as far as their attacking department is concerned. Quite blunt. They're taking on a team that is boasting of, you know, various capable players on the front line. Stephen Waruru, lethal up front. What do you think about that particular clash, Ronnie?
Moroni has had a topsy-turvy season. It's been on and off for them, and one of the matches that I really watched keenly was against Sofapaka when Gilbert Celeba was on the touchline. They really gave Sofapaka a run for their money, and they were running around, they were passing the ball, playing really comfortable football, really exciting football. But then again, something just snapped. Celeba left immediately for Leopards, where he again is about to leave. And when Celeba left again, things took a dive for Moroni. So they are facing an Ulinzi side who are also on the upside. They have Waruru, who's, although his form just dipped a bit, he's still very potential. It's one of those matches really that I'm sure not most fans will be following, but it's a win for Ulinzi.
It's a tough match for Moroni. Ulinzi coming in motivated. They just won the military games. Their goalkeeper Saruni being chosen as the best player in the tournament. Having some of their players getting call-ups in the national team. Some of their players really growing up and maturing into the Kenyan Premier League. Daniel Waweru now looking like a player that Ulinzi can depend on. A player like Muloma now looking like a player that Ulinzi can depend on, giving them the assists for goals and also some the goals in critical matches. I think Ulinzi have a very big chance in this match, and something is happening at Moroni. We've talked about it at this particular bench. Something is happening at Moroni. You know, Tom Juma left. The other coach, the former coach, name I can't get the name now. Then Celebo came in and left. You know, Patrick Odhiambo. They've been there. They've been leaving. Players been coming and leaving. Samuel Ndungu, before going to Leopards, was a player at Muhoroni. So there's something that's happening at Muhoroni that doesn't seem to be getting the best out of the players. So you find yourself playing in a team just because the season is on and you are registered in that team, but somehow really when you look at you know, at the real, or you look at the reality, is like the players don't really want to be there. If they can get a chance to leave, they leave at a snap. You know, you don't want players to be like that. You want players who will be approached by other teams and say, no, I'm comfortable playing here. Unless you give me something beyond what I'm getting here, I'm not leaving this place. But players at Muhoroni seem to be so easily ready to move out of Muhoroni, even their bench. And that is one thing that is going to be a letdown for them in the second leg. And
it doesn't look for Muhoroni neat either, because they are placed at the right end of the log with 19 points. So it's Moroni, Thika United, and Western Stima. There's nothing that proves that things will get better for Moroni, especially after they've lost their coach Gilbert Celebo, and also they have all these issues with discipline and their chairman being caught in sagas left, right, and center. It's very tricky for them. The odds don't favor them either. So very likely that Moroni could also be going down this season.
And now the sixth clash during this particular weekend, of course, pits Mathare United against Western Stima. Robert Kimanzi, since taking over, of course, he's the former national team Harambee Stars coach, and even he was a Tusker before. He's a great coach, you know, a man of reputation as far as coaching is concerned, but also no success being witnessed at the Slum Boys. They are now playing Western Stima this afternoon. I don't know, from your own assessment.
Mathare United, Kimanzi and Salim Ali tried something. They brought in some young players, a big bunch of young players. Some of these young players have really shown so much potential, like Derek Onyango, the former Gor Mahia youth player. They've shown so much potential, but however, that potential has not been enough to spur them to where they need to be. And also the senior players, some of them like Wycliffe Kasai, have not really been convincing. We've even seen Kasai get subbed at the 45th minute in that match against Leopards. So Mathare also has been a team that is getting so many draws, and also when it gets rough for them, they even soak in 5. It hasn't been a very good season for them. However, I expect with the experience of Kimanzi and Salim Ali, they can be able to get a couple of points here and there. We know in this league, if you can get about 3 straight wins, then they can be assured of survival. However, against Stima is also a team on the lower. They are a team that has been not really performing this season. They lost very key players last season, so looks very tricky for Stima, though I expect it to be tight, and probably a draw is the most likely result here.
It's always been a very tough fixture for Mathare United. You know, the last time Mathare beat Western Stima a few years back, 2-0, I think I was in the squad that beat Western Stima in Kakamega. But Western Stima have always gotten some very good results against Mathare United. However, this season, Western Stima don't seem to have the oomph that they had in previous seasons. Remember last year, playing even in the Go TV, everybody was excited when they saw Western Stima with Akina Muguna, with Bai, and everybody, you know, Dennis Sikai on the right. They had a very, very good team. Everybody was looking forward to watch Western Stima. Whatever happened along the lines, along the lane, you know, somebody at Western Stima can explain. But in this season, especially in this match against Mathare United are slowly getting the rhythm that they need to survive in the league. I saw Mathare United playing against Zoo Kericho, Zoo that had beaten Mathare in Kericho. I saw them play in Ruaraka, and they beat Zoo about 6 or 7 goals very convincing play, very comfortable on the ball. Some of the players seeming to be getting back their motivation. Players like Daniel Mwaura, Harrison Mwendo now getting back into the team. By the way, Kasai is not going to be playing for the next 2 months, I think, because of injury. But the guy who has replaced him, the young lad, he is very enthusiastic with lots of energy, and which just pushes the rest of the team, to perform even better. So I'm looking at, being Amatare United to some extent, I'm also looking at some good results from Amatare United today against Western Stima.
He's a former Mathare United player, so if you think his submissions are biased, then he's justified to do that owing to, his affiliation to the team he played before. Of course, that has been a KPL chat on the touchline. Y254 Maxwell Wasike is my name, and as always, you can interact with us on our social media handles at Wasike Maxwell, at Touchline Y25 for that Twitter handle, Facebook page, the Touchline. You can keep your contributions coming. What do you think? Do you agree with them as far as their analysis and predictions of KPL matches this afternoon is concerned? And you can be a lucky winner if you happen to predict correctly and, come on the show during the fan zone and, defend your team and take us through the analysis as well. And now to another talking point as far as Kenyan football is concerned is CHAN, African Nations Championship, a tournament meant for local-based players earmarked for early next year. Of course, there has been growing tension that the tournament might be taken away from Kenya, with rumors linking CAF to already having an alternative in either South Africa or Morocco in case Kenya fails to host the championship. Confederation of African Football representatives led by Vice President Constant Omar will be touring the country as from Monday next week to assess the situation and readiness of Kenya to host the team. We saw during a press on Friday at the Ministry of Sports headquarters, Principal Secretary Peter Kaberia saying that Kenya will host CHAN come what may.
Yeah, I love the confidence that has been coming from the ministry and also Nick Mwendo, the FKF president. Even Nick Mwendo has put his own job on the line, saying that if Kenya doesn't host CHAN, then he'll resign. How true that is, we wait and see. But going by the reality is we are not prepared. We don't have enough facilities yet. CAF is coming to the country next week. Part of what they are assessing is just not the stadia and the facilities, but also the political situation. We know how Kenya is at the moment, and also we have elections coming up sometime soon. I don't expect the government at the moment to really prioritize building of stadia. If we go back historically, during the Moi era, Kenya also lost a chance to host the Continental Showpiece, and it's reported to have been because of some political issues. That could also be affecting Kenya's chances this time.
Before we get to Simon Sepe Mlama, let's just take a look and hear what Peter Kaberia, Principal Secretary for Sports, Arts and Culture, has to say with regards to Kenyan chances of hosting CHAN early next year.
We've already started the preparation. All the venues are in place. The president is there. We've had a visit as late as 2 days ago, and I think CAF is satisfied up to now. We've had, of course, some people say, oh, hii kitu itaenda, haikuji Kenya. No, please. We are still on course. We're still the host up to now, and until there is a report otherwise, support us. Let us make sure that Kenya hosts this, because it's a great opportunity for us. From the ministry point of view, we're doing everything possible to make sure that we host CHAN, and we will host CHAN.
Peter Kaberia speaking at the Kencom House, that is Ministry of Sports offices, during unveiling of Kenya Airways as the national carrier for teams and clubs seeking to represent the country during international event. And it's optimistic and buoyant. Of course, I've also seen veteran broadcaster Elina Shiveka, deputy chairperson of Kenya Hockey Union, alongside Nation Randiek, the chairperson. Of course, several federation top honchos in attendance, and the ministry is optimistic.
Yes.
And he reiterated government's commitment towards backing Kenya to host the championship, despite high growing political temperatures amid electioneering times.
Yes, you know, and what's happening politically isn't really helping Kenya much in terms of the campaign for hosting the CHAN 2018 competition, number one. Number two, I almost asked what happened to Mr. Abdi Wario, because when we had a presser in Nyayo Stadium about a few weeks back, he wasn't there. And everybody expected him to be there, at least to show his face and have the confidence of the government support. Now again in this one, nobody saw him there. Instead, there was the PS, like you said, being buoyant and all that. But the reality is, you know, if you look at the infrastructure, I heard Nick Mwendo, the president of the federation, say we need about 12 stadiums, and now we need 4 main stadiums, and at every stadium we need at least 2 stadiums for practice, where you know, when you have a match, you're warming up. When another match is going on, you're warming up in these 2 stadiums outside, and this team should not be seeing each other eye to eye with this other team, but you should not be so far away from the main venue. So we're talking about 3 stadiums almost at the same spot. You know, I don't know how many stadiums have that ability in Kenya. Very few of them. Kasarani maybe has one on the outside and one on the inside, but not so many stadiums have you know, the space to have about two more stadiums you know, just adjacent to the main stadium. I think the commitment by the government and the public up to now is not so convincing, my friend, in the CAF campaign. We looked at the youth championship. You know, when this process was going on, and the building of the track and renovating the stadiums on the outside, where the teams will be sleeping, we even saw the First Lady making rounds and looking and going to Kasarani and actually saying, you know, we are in. And when you see the First Lady there, you know who else is there. You know, so when you look at this and you see we have about 2 months, we have the group from CAF coming, and you know, it's so tight, and we don't see the face of the First Lady, but we see Elina Shiveka. then you know, everybody starts being doubtful and everybody starts fearing. As much as we would love for the competition to be here, at least we get some entertainment, you know, and we get recognized as one country that can compete against other countries in hosting such big events. But I think the goodwill and the motivation, especially from the government, is not to the limit or to the extent that everyone else expects it.
I think just 2 things to also add on. Libya was a country that was also to host, I think, AFCON or the CHAN, and they got that snatched away because of the political situation in the country. We've seen how football has grown over the years, and also terrorism and such stuff are really being factored in when hosting important tournaments. So CAF itself and FIFA wouldn't allow a tournament of this magnitude to be hosted in a country where there's political tension and uncertainties. Also, just to add on it, as I've said, as Sepe says, he hasn't seen the First Lady or the Minister, Wario, the Cabinet Secretary there. I just wish to also note that the government is the one that is tasked with building stadia. And in Kenya, the history has shown that government will really invest in projects that are vote-rich. You know what I mean? And sports and stadia in this country has not been vote-rich enough for the government to invest in. Over the last 5 years, we've seen the government, both the national and the county governments, not putting in enough monies to build stadia. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. The government would rather invest in other more lucrative projects and not the stadia.
Of course, gentlemen, we have to end it on that note. Thank you for making time to come through and take us through the in-depth analysis of KPL fixtures lined up this particular weekend, and even giving your submissions with regards to CHAN and the update as far as that tournament meant for local best players is concerned, earmarked for early next year. And Kenya is looking forward hosting the championship, and it has also been rumored that Kenya, come November this year, is likely to host Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup. We shall be speaking to Sekafa Secretary General Nicholas Musonye to give us assurance and confirmation on whether Kenya can host that particular tournament. Remember, IAAF Under-19 Championships happened in the country a few months ago at Kasarani, and it was a successful turn. We shall be looking forward to see whether Kenya can replicate the same and host CHAN early next year. Of course, this is the touchline on Y254. Maxwell Wasike is my name, and you know, Simon Sepe Mlema.
Safi.
Thank you for coming through. Brother
Thank you for
Loyal,
having
thank
me.
you for coming through. World Cup qualifier segment up next, worked on by Fadhili Athmani. Let's take a look.